What's up, everyone? I am Jake. I will be moderating another roundtable. This time we have a group of home gym junkies. We have Keith, aka No Wine Cellar, Chip, aka Big Jam Exerciser, Coach Carp, Man Who Parks in Gym, and Eccles Basement. Thank you, everyone, for hopping on. Let's actually start off with Eccles, who has recently helped invent a product. Can you give us the story behind the Saxon grips? And if anyone has any questions, feel free to follow up with them.
Sure. It was actually a pretty quick process. Like I've talked to you, it all kind of stemmed from your interview with Ricardo from Lifting USA. After the interview, I reached out to him because I've been working on grip stuff for a long time. Did a few months of coaching with him. The first thing he told me to do was get fat grips. We'll start as soon as you get those. And it's like, well, with all the other lifts they do in the Saxon grip or the Saxon bars, I'm like, well, why can't they make a fat grip for that? So that's where my wheels kind of started turning. Grabbed some paper, just drew it up by hand, brought it to a buddy at work, and on his lunch break, he just drew up a solid model. And then first thing I did was I sent it out to some kind of local companies that work with rubber plastic stuff, and the molding would have been like $15,000 just for a mold, and this is for like a low end one. And it was, and then the piece price, which we still don't even have it that low because whatever. But I was like, I can't take out a second mortgage to start this, so start looking around. And I was talking to Rob about it, and he told me to reach out to AbMat, which is funny because I actually had, but then I deleted and unsent the message before they saw it. He's like, he pointed me to one of your interviews with Dylan to go through. Dylan has a specific way that he wants people to approach him. So I went through that whole thing and called him while my boss was on lunch and gave my little sales pitch, and I had everything pretty much ready to go. I had a file that he stuck into his 3D printer the very next day, and we were off to the races. So it went fairly quick.
Nice. Anybody have questions for him?
So it is pretty much a 3D printed piece then? So you're not worried about a mold like with Dylan's just making it on like a big industrial 3D printer in-house?
No, it's injection molded rubber. So it's like the same material as a fat grip. So it's real thick rubber. It's not plastic. It's kind of heavy.
But did they use a 3D printer to make the mold then? I guess I'm trying to figure out where the 3D printer came into play.
They just used the 3D
print
to make like a first prototype so they could like get a visual of what it looked like.
Gotcha. And then I'm assuming the injection molding that they're doing is a lot more reasonable and affordable than the couple guys you reached out to locally to you.
It's pretty similar, actually. It all depends on how many pieces you can do in the mold, and unless you make a really big mold, it's like it's one or two pieces at a time, I think, and it's fairly expensive, and it'd be cheaper if it was overseas, but it's made in USA, so which of course they had to put on the side, which I like. So
nice.
Are you rich yet?
I doubt it. I haven't asked. I don't like messaging them that often. I just let me know if they sell out or people buy them. Other than that, I know I'm not going to retire off of it, so it'd be cool, but it's not going to happen. So,
is there any steps going forward to get it patented at all? Is it something you're worried about getting knocked off?
It's going to get knocked off.
Okay. It's just something you've already accepted that it'll happen, but
yeah,
people will just buy the American version more than,
When I first started talking to Dylan, he said, China's never too far behind me. So I was like, well, yeah, I can see
Would that be considered that karma?
And especially something like this, how many how many different fat grip knockoffs are there on Amazon? There's 100 of them. So it's not exactly a hard piece to mimic. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's nothing, doesn't really reinvent the wheel too much. It should be easy to knock off, which sucks, but
When
It
you
looks
on the,
pretty
can
easy.
you hear me?
yep.
Can you hear me? When he sent you to buy fat grips, did you buy the actual fat grips or did you buy the Amazon knockoff?
Good question.
Good question.
I bought the full 3 different size set off Amazon of actual fat grips for like $87.
Good for you. Good for you.
That's crazy.
They're sweet. I still use them all the time. So beats having more bars that I don't have room for. So
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that I like about AbMat, I've never spoken with Dylan, but I get a sense from his advertising campaigns that he has a really intelligent sense of humor. Does he let you give him ideas, take any feedback or anything like that? Or, like today, I saw a reel that he did. He went and he took the Saxon grip. He did Sax at
So
college. My first thought was like, I bet he does like Sax on a beach and Sax, whatever. I'm just curious. Does he talk with you about that kind of stuff, or is everything just he does it and just lets me know whenever you're going to get a couple bucks back or something?
yeah, it's pretty much that way. He told me a few days ago that he had done this and that he was going to upload a reel within a few days. I actually had an idea to try and send some to the Shaw Classic for the grip event, but that didn't really work out, which kind of sucks. But oh well, it would have been nice to have him in some of the hands of some big guys, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's always next year.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't know if you've seen any of Shaw's last couple videos. Like he did drop today the impossible dumbbell, and then a couple days ago he did the Lizzo challenge. That dude that was with him in both of those videos is the guy I did that potato event with a couple weeks ago. So I know him personally, and he worked at the Shaw Classic. So it would have been kind of nice to have an inside, handoff. But whatever, learning experience.
Have you guys tried DMing him? I bet he would answer a DM from AbMat.
I don't know if they have or not. Like that's
I'm
their
sure,
business.
yeah.
That's their business, not mine. So I just kind of laying back and let Jesus take the wheel.
And so,
All right. Well, speaking of AbMat, let's just move on to topic number 2 then. So Eleiko created a couple of very familiar products with the 2 AbMat, basically an AbMat replica and a split squat pad, and just marketed it. It looks like, to be honest, it looks like the material's a little bit nicer. I don't know if you guys agree or not. But there was quite a bit of controversy on the topic this last week. Would love to hear what you guys think.
I mean, for me, right away, I'm like, how many companies have made an AbMat? So it's, that one doesn't really jump out at me too much. It's, you get them at Walmart, you get them, big sporting goods, they're a dime a dozen. The split squat pad, like, the only thing there is if that hole wouldn't have been the same size to go through a bar, no one would have ever said anything. Because it is a little bit different, but because you can put it on a bar, that's where everyone starts. Like they ripped it off, which I get, but it is the same and it isn't.
I mean, why do you guys think, though, like, people reacted so much because Eleiko did it, as opposed to, Bells of Steel has a fake AbMat.
Well, yeah, I think
Rep has a fake AbMat.
If you look at 2023 as a whole, there seems to have been a lot of controversy this year around products and imitation and all that good stuff. And I'm kind of at this point, I know I've had some conversations with you guys, like at this point, if you haven't got a patent on it, like you really I mean, you can't be upset if somebody decides they want to go and put money into it. I do think that first to market has its advantage, and you're going to have more, brand loyalty at that point. But if somebody decides to come in and copy it, for a cheaper price, without having a patent to secure it, unfortunately, there's not a huge leg to stand on in that situation.
Now, was Donnie the first one that shared, like the video that Donnie Thompson shared, was that his actual video, or did he steal that from someone else to share? Because it seemed like the one where it was the AbMat and Eleiko, their sales ads like right next to each other, like timed up perfectly. Was that his actually made video?
I think he put them together. Yeah.
Okay, because I couldn't. Part of me was like, is it the products that we're talking about specifically, or like is their sales ad identical? Because just the way the video was edited that everyone saw on Instagram was like, it was literally like the exact same like movements and like timed at the same way. So I didn't know if that was made to look a little more steely than it was.
No,
So
I thought.
Yeah. Go ahead.
AbMat made their video to look like the video.
That's what I thought.
A couple hours later.
I got you.
Like, that's kind of part of what I mean. There's a whole history of AbMat stuff that I see as kind of a more intelligent or whatever, but that one in particular was a really quick turnaround, and I thought it was kind of a swipe at them that was maybe a little bit less, but
that definitely makes sense. I like it.
I mean, I was talking to Dylan while I was going, and he was pretty upset as it was dropping, and then he sent me their remake of the reel, and he's LMAO, where he was laughing. He's like, all right, we got him. So he was definitely trying to paint them in a worse light.
Gotcha.
I don't disagree with.
So I know we like polls on this podcast. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And I was just asked, how did the prices compare on those versus the AbMat?
I didn't check.
Yeah, I don't know. Usually Eleiko does a thing where they like post something and it's not it's not available yet. I didn't look. I don't really. For me, it was kind of one of those things where it was like a reaction at first, but for full transparency, sometimes I have opinions. They come across as strong, and people might get the wrong impression. And I'll be 100% clear here. At the end of the day, my gigantic egotistical head on my pillow, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't lose sleep over whether or not Eleiko copied AbMat or vice versa or whatever. Like, I don't have no skin in the game. I don't care. I mean, I do care from a sense of like, if it's taking food out of Dylan's kid's mouth or his future kid's mouth or something, I'd hate for that to happen for anybody. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really make a hill of beans to me. I can still sleep at night. But my initial reaction was just that I just thought it was lame. Eleiko has this kind of, they have a reputation for being pioneers of things, right? They do their own thing. They do things their way, and other people follow them. So it's weird to see them. I kind of looked at it, and I saw it said AbMat, and my initial response was, did they partner with AbMat? Because this looks completely different than, some of the other AbMat products or whatever. But whenever I watched the video, I was like, there's no way this is an AbMat. And I just thought it was lame. They called it an AbMat and just gave it like a space and put a weird S at the end of it. And like, I don't know, it was, so I thought it would be interesting to ask them, if they had done some kind of a partnership, even though it was a rhetorical question. And their response to me, I felt like was a little bit more creative than the actual product itself, in trying to sidestep the question by telling me where it was made and what it was made of, which is different from AbMat. So pretty cool. But, at the end of the day, I don't know if I really have, that much care about it.
Well, another thing.
Well, I think it is interesting. Go on. I'll just really quickly say I think it's interesting that they actually, like you said, called it an AbMat,
Right.
And it is $55, FYI. And then they called it. There are other things called a foam roller, but like calling it like all the other like fake companies or the other people calling. The other people that created an AbMat that's just like a replica call it like an ab workout. They call it something different. Right. They don't call it
right.
Yeah. So that's
I think in this I looked at it. I think I looked at Rep because I was like, I know Rep has one, and they're not partnering with anybody. They have one, and they call it something mat, ab support mat, or something like that.
Yeah.
But that was kind of what I saw. Everybody has some Amazon type name, you know, to it. So that was another thing too. I was like, at least come up with a different name for it. They call it, put 2 A's with the little dots over the top of it or something. You know what I mean? With for your abs. But
I just sent you guys a screenshot. There's actually send you guys a screenshot. There's 2 towards the top of Amazon search that are literally labeled AbMat that are not AbMat. So that's why I don't. I think it kind of goes back to what you said earlier, Eccles, about the Saxon grips, right? Like it's not a hard product to knock off. How long does it take before the market gets saturated with them?
Definitely not a difficult product to recreate. I thought I would have assumed that he had a patent on that. I mean, I would have assumed that.
It might be gone. It might be 20 years old.
And it doesn't matter. I mean, to be honest with you, it doesn't prevent people from recreating it. It just gives you if you want to take the money and sue somebody to make, send them and invest more money to try to protect it. And that's where it kind of comes down to like, are they cutting into enough of your cost, of your profit or whatever to justify going after them and stuff. And most of the time, look, I just go real fucking dark in here. Like I'm in the witness protection.
Yeah. I doubt AbMat wants to take on Eleiko.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, why? That's the bigger problem here is that, I mean, for one, like as a society, like I was kind of bitching to you guys about us in general, people, we get really pissed off and hyper vigilant whenever a bigger company like Eleiko takes on a smaller guy. Like we assume AbMat. I don't know. I've never seen either one of them's fucking bottom line. Dylan's a really fucking smart business guy. He's probably making a lot of money. You know what I mean? He's probably doing fine. But so I don't know if he's still considered a little guy or not. But compared to Eleiko, he probably is, right? And we get really up in arms about that whenever that happens. But we don't seem to really care the other way around. Name the company that has an open trap bar or whatever after the Eleiko thing or Kabuki. I don't even know who did that first because I don't.
I was going to bring that up at some point.
Yeah, I really don't. But we don't care about that. You know what I mean? We don't care that there's other companies making heavy mugs or mugs that look like, like I noticed today, JD Jimmy Quip dropped a image of a Yeti with it's not a heavy mug, but it's a Yeti with like a big old fucking thing on it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it kind of looks, I don't know. Again, we don't give a shit about that, right? We only care whenever Rogue mimics a product that looks similar to something that a smaller business is making. And that's where it's like, it starts to get to this place where it's like, it really just feels like it's the social media thing, right? Like we don't really I wouldn't have an opinion on it until it gets put in my face. And all of a sudden I'm going to form an opinion. And whether it's one way or that, I'm going to choose my team and then die hard until it's, till the next thing comes up or whatever. But it's kind of where I feel like with that Eleiko AbMat debacle.
Yeah, and I think another thing to mention is like both of AbMat's getting a lot of press from it. So like people are more familiar with who AbMat is, and Eat Metals, the good ultimately came out of that. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
it's is that what we're landing on? It's a good thing when that happens.
It's a good thing. I don't know.
Hopefully somebody will rip off those things.
What's that, Carp?
Yeah, I was going to say, the thing for me was Dylan and AbMat are known for collaboration and bringing new vendors in and partnering with other teams. Like I know Surplus Trade and some other companies work with them, so they make each other's items or make one for the other type of thing. So if you're going to do something like that, you would think a company like that would reach out to AbMat because they're known across the board for working with other companies and trying to collaborate rather than compete with each other. And then last I checked, I thought AbMat had like two versions of that. They had like a lower budget version and a higher end version of the leg roller thing, the split squat pad or whatever it's called. I thought they had different tiers of that. It's like a budget, like a $30, $40 one and like a $60 one. So if they wanted a higher tier one, they could, partner with them and make a higher one. If that's the way I looked at it. But then, like Chip was saying, when you search, like the other day I went to order bench blocks, and the first 5 things that come up on Amazon are a bench block copy. That's not the bench block. It's Morafit or D-Moose or something else. And it looks exactly the same, except it doesn't say bench block on the side. So you had to scroll down about eight items to get to the actual one you wanted. So they're actually ranking higher than the actual owner of the company, which I thought was, kind of weird, but it kind of goes to Chip's point as well.
I got to be right back. I got a phone charger.
Well, I think we're going to move on to topic number 3 anyways. All right, so love to hear what's a product that you've been using a lot lately that you think more people should know about.
I've added 3 new barbells to my collection in the last few months. They're all orange Cerakote bars from Texas Power Bars. I've never been a fan of Cerakote in the past. Just the couple bars that I handled at my buddies, like the knurl just felt kind of dull from it. But I've come to kind of learn that it's more, if the bar is sharp to begin with, you're in pretty good shape. I love Texas Power Bars, but like over the years, they've been somewhat inconsistent with their knurling. As of maybe like the last year or so, it seems like everything they coming out is super sharp. So I got the first one as like a birthday present, so I didn't have to spend money on it. So it was kind of just like a long shot. The knurl was super sharp on the power bar. So then I was like, well, fuck it. Let's go ahead and get with the deadlift bar. Deadlift bar came in super sharp. At that point, I had a couple of them for a few months. The Cerakote was holding up well enough, and I just recently bought the squat bar. It came in last week and haven't had a chance to use it yet. So just the orange Cerakote, the Cerakote options in general from Buddy Cap's Texas Power Bars is surprisingly well and holding up as long as you're not using them more like on a metal-to-metal surface.
Nice. All right, Chip, tell us about the Stealth Spotters.
That actually wasn't going to be the item that I was going to call out. But yes, the Stealth Spotters, definitely a great option. I guess they came out, was it January, February-ish? Or I guess we did the last podcast in January and they came out February. Definitely love the Stealth Spotters. I've found a lot of versatility just with the low profile. I feel like there's a lot of different kind of unconventional things that you can do with them because they are low profile, and the way that they mount. The side mount design to me is completely underrated. I just think it's a much faster process of moving from one upright to another, or just moving from upright to storage. And actually, the item that I was going to also call out that I just recently got in the last month or so is the Thresher Pad from Darko Lifting, which I've actually found the Thresher Pad and the Stealth Spotters to be a great combination. The thing with this Thresher Pad that I will say is I think it's the best option on the market if you already have spotter arms. If you don't have spotter arms, then from a budget standpoint, it probably make more sense to look at a Bulldog pad or possibly look at the Goat because there's a lot of added functionality that offers. But if you're just looking for an adjustable pad for predominantly chest supported rows and variations, I think the Darko Lifting Thresher Pad is definitely a good option. I think it's got 6 different settings that you can set at different angles, and from a price standpoint, I remember kind of looking at the prices of the Bulldog pad shipped, and then looking at which would be kind of the lower end equivalent would be the lat seat from Stray Dog Strength. And this was actually priced less than the midpoint between those two items averaged out. So I thought that was well priced for what you're getting. You're getting an adjustable, pad. Again, it's spotter arm mounted. So if you don't have spotter arms, you got to go out and buy them for anywhere from $300 to $500. That definitely kind of blows the budget out of the water. But yeah, Stealth Spotters, definitely a good hit, and also the Thresher Pad.
So 2 things, actually. One, I had the Sorinex the rackable trap bar thing, and I replaced it with the Eleiko, and it fucking sucks. I like that it's like got a shorter footprint or whatever, so it's nice in the garage for storage and stuff. But the grip diameter sucks at 28 millimeters. The knurling sucks. It's pretty passive. And most importantly, the thing that pisses me off the most is that the sleeves they're nice and chrome and everything, but they're like axle bar. They say they're two or 50 millimeters or 2 inches or whatever, but they actually come out more like 49 millimeters, which sounds like shouldn't be that much, but it's enough to be sloppy as hell. Like whenever I do like overhead press or something with it, you can hear the weight slapping on it, which is annoying as fuck because it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
The other thing, so if you're interested or you're curious about it, the only reason you should ever buy that thing is if you need the space, width wise or whatever. It is nice. It's a little bit more manageable, less, the other one was, I don't know, standard length, 84 inches, 84.75 or something like that. This one's more like 77 or 76, something that's about 10 inches shorter. And it really does make a difference moving it around in the garage and stuff, especially once I get the rest of the machines in here. It's like, it'll be like threading a needle or whatever. So if that is something that you have to have, know that the rest of it sucks. But otherwise, don't buy that. The other thing is for my horse stall mats that line my floor of my garage, I found that this Meguiar's Natural Shine Protectant actually cleans them really fucking well. Like if you blow it all off, you use your little Roomba or whatever to pick up the little dust and debris, and then you just give it a spray and like wipe it. It stays like it looks. It doesn't give it like it'll be kind of slick for like a day or two or whatever. But even driving over it and stuff, like it still looks like 10 times better than it does without the stuff.
What is it?
It's Meguiar's Natural Shine Protecting. So, use code MWPIG at one
Car 10,
Screenshot that.
10%.
It's like a non-greasy. Yeah. You just get this shit at like AutoZone or whatever. But it actually comes out pretty good.
Can you put the link for that in your bio, please?
Yeah. I don't know if I even have a bio anymore, but if I really think. What's that?
Have you tried it on dumbbells or plates?
No, I don't have bumper plates, and I just use sweat and grit to keep my dumbbells clean. I'm just kidding. I really have never cleaned my dumbbells though.
Well, sometimes they get that chalky gray look.
Yeah, I like that. That's like no, I've never cleaned them. I'm always afraid they're gonna get something. I don't have the Saxon grit to strengthen my grip up, so
Nice, you should get one.
But no, I've never cleaned my dumbbells with it. It probably worked just fine though. I like this stuff for the car and stuff because it doesn't give it that greasy, snotty look that like Armor All does, and it does the same thing for it makes it look nice.
Interesting.
I know. I feel like this is like the second podcast where I've recommended some sort of Martha Stewart fucking cleaning product. This shit.
Still a lot of Roombas.
What about you, Carp? What have you been using lately? Anything?
Well, I was going to say, I've had it for a while, but it's the Barger Rescue Brush. I've had it for about a year, probably.
I was going to say
here in
that.
Tennessee, Barger Rescue Brush. Here in Tennessee, we've had one of the hottest and most humid summers. So even my stainless steel bars are starting to rust. So I do have a bare steel bar, but even the stainless, I got the chewy bars, and they're starting to get some rust and patina on there. So oil and, obviously gets the shock and things out as well. But that's one I've had for a while. A newer one is probably going to be the French Sport Longhorn bar or Primal Armor bar, if you guys know about those. It's a bow style bar, Duffalo style bar, shorter sleeves, and it sits up in the rack straight. So I like that. I had the Duffalo previously, but the finish on it just wasn't. Yeah, I had the zinc version, and I just didn't like it. It was spotty and blotchy and all kinds of stuff on it. So I do like this one better. I've had it for a while, but I do own both those other bars. So best I can tell, both those bars are the same bar from the same manufacturer. But I do like the bar. Either manufacturer you go with, you can't go wrong because it's a good budget bar for your home gym.
What about you, Eccles? Do you have anything new?
I suppose the new. I've got something that was supposed to ship 3 months ago that might supposed to be shipped tomorrow. I don't know, but the one newest thing I guess I gotta been using is the Black Double Diamond bar, which it's nice to have a kind of real bar now, I guess, instead of the kind of passive True Grit power bar, the Titan bar. Something that actually makes it look like I lift, even though I don't lift that much. But it's nice.
You got that grip thing from JD Gym Grip, right? Or is that what you're talking about? That hasn't shipped yet.
Forgot about that thing too. Yeah, that thing's awesome. Not cheap, but well worth it.
So can you put on that thing? Can you put fat grips on the little? I mean, it's like a thing that attaches to your rack,
Yep.
and it's got hand grip. You squeeze together, and it lifts like you put a plate on a prong. It looks like a penis, really, and you just sit there and it pops up, right? I mean,
yeah, I could probably do it. I've thought about it. I've never done it, but I don't know how well it would necessarily work. But I put bands on it. I put plates on it. It's very nice. I like it a lot. And that was one of those things I had to buy some of the Kaizen adapters for, because it's a 3x3. So I had to get some spacers in there, since I'm still rocking the 2x3 for now until probably HomeGymCon.
yeah. Whoa, what's happening at HomeGymCon? You're getting a 3x3?
So kind of already been laying it down, and not 100% sure yet, but might be working with Dean at Black Widow and everyone builds, and then he would build it, bring it, use it for display, and then just take it home with me. Way to save some money.
That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Nice.
And then get rid of this.
He makes nice stuff, man. I got a few products from them, and everything's been really nice. Everything that I've gotten from Black Widow has been really good.
Awesome. All right, let's go to topic number 4. So, Bulletproof Fitness. So they've just released the PCD and have been pretty much releasing products for the last year now. Would love to hear you guys' thoughts on Bulletproof Fitness.
I think it's great, man. I think that there's somebody that is making products specifically for the home gym. Everybody's going to have everything. The products are going to have their pros and cons. There are going to be certain things that are going to be for people and things that are going to be not for people, right? A lot of us really want to own all of the things. I think it was Jade. No, I can't remember who. There was somebody in one of your HomeGymCon reels or videos or whatever that talks about how we don't really want all-in-one bars. We want to own all of the bars, and I agree with that sentiment. And that's. But there's also a market segment of people who do want the maximum functionality and most versatility out of a product, and I think that's where Bulletproof has kind of landed in their niche there. And I think it's cool. I think it's great. I think for those of us who had home gyms before COVID, if you can remember, there wasn't a lot of shit like that. Like you really had your Marcy all-in-one, big box store, Walmart thing. I think Force USA was about from what I can remember, was one of the most all-in-one kind of things that I could remember seeing beforehand. Rogue, Rep had a few things. Rogue had a lot of stuff. They had a bigger market share because garage gyms were a lot of CrossFit and a lot of powerlifting and strongman type stuff. And so they kind of had a market there. But the stuff like what Bulletproof is coming out with is really, to me, just kind of a testament to how big the garage gym community and society has gotten from that. And it's, for me, it's just that much more stuff that I get to choose whether or not I want to put it in my gym or not, that we wouldn't have had prior to all this big boom. So I think it's cool, man. I think it's great. Even though I don't own any of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to eventually own the isolator and stuff, but the the PCD looks awesome, but that thing is just monstrous. Mm-hmm. And I heard it's got a one direction that's 9 feet long. It's I'm in an 11 by 13 room right now. There's no way I would ever have any room for that. So I still want to try it. So hopefully they show up to HomeGymCon this year and I can try it.
Yeah, I don't feel I'm in his demographic. I like to use my power racks specifically for squat, bench, and deadlift. I don't want to have a big attachment that takes up the whole thing, and then you have to go store it in the corner, and it's as big as a power rack when it's not on the attachment, or when the attachment's on the rack. I don't do it because I'm not really into the bodybuilding stuff, so I don't need all these extra machines and all that. So personally, I'd rather put that money in like a combo rack or 5 new barbells. But it is cool for the certain, if someone's in that demographic, that's great, because I would love seeing the community grow. But for me to be in that demographic, I'd have to have like 10 times the square footage. And if I had 10 times the square footage, I would just buy like plate loaded or equipment with stacks on it, not like multi-purpose pieces. So I really don't see it being for me ever.
Yeah, for sure, man. For me, I kind of gravitate more toward bodybuilding type stuff than powerlifting, where you're the opposite of that. And even still, for me, I would rather have one really good machine than like 10 shitty machines, or one machine that kind of does 10 things not as good as one really good machine, So if I had to dedicate that space to one like leg extension machine or something like that, I would have one real legit leg extension instead of one that does all the things that does for me. But I do know that there are a lot of people that really do, really value that versatility that the Bulletproof thing offers. What do you think, Chip?
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot, actually, since the question was initially posed, because to me, you're right, Jesse, it's really cool that these types of pieces are coming out. I'm just not convinced that it's that practical for the price, unless you're going to go with the stand, like the single post stand that they offer. I was looking at it earlier, and I don't know how much it actually weighs. And I know that it's like detachable in certain pieces, but it ships in 2 boxes that total 150 pounds. And to me, that just doesn't seem very like functional in a home gym, of having to either take it apart enough to be able to get it on and off the rack without too much fuss, or leave all that stuff on the rack and try to have to work around it. And so then if you're going to get the stand, the single post stand, then all of a sudden now you're just taking up more floor space, like you said, where you could just be utilizing, another piece. So I don't know. It's a lot of money for what I would consider a lot of space and or a lot of hassle. But I think if bodybuilding is, your goal, and that's what you're aiming to do, and you are tight on space and don't mind, working around it, then go for it. But just not for me.
That single post solo stand thing, whatever it's called, that was actually the first item from Bulletproof that I saw that I was like, ooh, because I have a half rack, right? Like I don't have extra uprights like you guys have. So I thought, this could be, but I've like racked my brain with things that I could do with it. And it really comes down to like, I could set it up and use my bulldog pad, you know what I mean? But for the things that I have, like even that's like, it's not really worth the space or whatever
yeah. And I think from a price standpoint, you'd be better off to go with, an item like Jake's great idea of a single upright mounted to the wall, where you could go and, attach, several pieces to that. You can get a set of uprights shipped from Rogue for like, I don't know, $250, $300 shipped, something like that. That's just, it's $800 for the base model for the isolator.
Yeah, something like what Aaron has, curls in the rack, where he has that fold out slinger thing. I assume he still. Doing something like that with a single, without the slinger and shit on it, but just a single like that you can fold in and fold out would be cool, and probably more cost effective than that piece even. I don't know what that piece costs, but something like that would be really cool for somebody who needs an extra space, an extra upright, for I don't know for what. Because it's not like whenever I set up my bulldog pad, that I'm like, damn, I wish I had 2 uprights. You know what I mean? Like I set it up, I use it for what I use it for, and whatever. I don't know, but
Yeah. All right. I was just going to add my little 2 cents. I don't think you should get it if you plan on removing it every time you want to use it. So I think you definitely need a spot to do it. And you also need to like figure out which lifts you're going to use it for as well the most, because most likely you're not going to want to move it up and down. So I use it for leg curls, leg extensions, and that's about it. And I would say it compares in price relatively similarly to like the Titan leg curl and leg extension. So you really just want to figure out if it's worth saving a little space so that you can add on a rack versus adding like a standalone option. And then I think it's the rest of his stuff is, I kind of wanted to follow up to your point, Jason, about like something like most of the stuff, maybe not the PCD because it seems like it does a lot of stuff very well. Most of his stuff does like a few things decently well. Like I think the isolator does as well as like the Titan leg curl leg extension. Maybe not like what you want. You want like a prime leg curl leg extension, but I think for most people it does a few things well and then a bunch of things okay. So yeah, I think that's just my 2 cents on my one product experience from him. And then I just think it's cool the amount of like it's been 1 year and it's already has all this stuff. Like it's still very early on to judge.
I think it's cool how. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think it's really cool. I think that the guy who is like behind all this stuff, I mean, he clearly has like an engineering mind, and it's really cool how he puts these things from paper to product. And it's cool to see that, and it's really cool to see how many things he can make one thing do. And even if they're not doing it as well as like the one prime piece that been designed by an engineer who has a background in kinesiology or whatever. I don't even know, is that even the word? But you know what I'm saying. It's really cool to see that he is able to do that. But what I wonder about oftentimes is like my wife, for example, whenever I bring her out here to work out, just something like putting J-cups on and she's really smart girl. She really is. But just putting like J-cups on, she's like, oh, that's too bad. That's too complicated. You got to set all this shit up, whatever. I'm not doing all that. So I wonder that a lot about watching the videos, seeing the stuff, you see the responses to it. Oftentimes people worry about it being too much setup time or too complicated or complex or whatever. And so that I could see that being a big deterrent for a lot of the bulletproof stuff.
Yeah, like I really considered looking at it when I had that big last sale. It was like $200 or $300 off or something for my wife. But kind of like Keith, I didn't really think I would use it. But if I had a standalone piece or something, but then I'm like, well, then I'm going to have to come out here and set it up for her all the time. She's going to be asking all these questions. It's not one of those things where you want to set it and forget it kind of thing, That's how, because I have it go already, and it's not even that, it's not even that easy to set up all the time. And it's not even that heavy. So if it's 130 pounds or whatever Chip was saying, I can see how that could be, an issue, no matter how big of a guy you are. And then something like the isolator, if you are a bigger guy, like what's the weight capacity? Because I think I've heard Larry say like 300 pounds or certain things.
It's 250. I think it said 250.
Yeah, see, that's not good enough for me. And then he said unlimited if you use an adjustable bench, but I don't want to buy something that I have to have an adjustable bench to use it also too. So that's for me. It probably wouldn't make sense. But somebody for like a wife or my kids as they get older, it might be something that they could use for stuff like that. But I just didn't see a need for it, and I thought it would kind of be a hassle to set up and everything.
Makes sense. All right, last topic. So I think one of the big things that I promote with HomeGymCon is try before you buy. So let's just say you guys are all going to HomeGymCon. What's the number one item you would want to try before you buy, or just something you would want to actually see in person to try out?
I want to get my hands on all the premium adjustable benches, the Manta Ray and whatever Rogues, 5200 point 2.0, I think it is, or whatever reps new one is. So basically, I still have the Rogue adjustable 2.0 that weighs like 1,000 pounds and has the worst pad in the world. So that bench needs to get upgraded at some point. So it's just a matter of what I want to upgrade it with. So it'd be nice if I'm going to drop $1,000 on a bench, I damn sure want to try it out first. That, and then just seeing all the homies, all the vendors, all my friends that were there, I look forward to that 1,000 times more than the couple products that I might buy down the road. Just the gathering of good people. So I'll take that over the products, but I am looking forward to the fact that we're going to have 5 times the vendors this year and probably like 10 times the crowd. So very much looking forward to 2024. Is Jason going forward with is Surplus Strength going forward with making a bench? He teased it last year, right before Rogue came out with theirs that kind of had the exact same system. And was he actually still going to go forward with that, or is that kind of dead?
I think so, but I don't know where he's at with it.
Because that'd be cool to see,
There's like a local strongman gym around here. I think it's where Evan T. Rex works out. And he tests a lot of that stuff in there. So when you guys are like, hey, is this stuff solid? I mean, he's got strongman using most of his stuff. So
yeah,
I've seen it. It's on Instagram and stuff. You can see it too. They got videos on YouTube and everything too.
For me,
go ahead.
next year for HomeGymCon. So last year, obviously, I got to try the Black Double Diamond and the JD Gym equipped gripper. So that was 2 cases of try before I bought. So that was sweet because I probably wouldn't have bought either of those just by looking at them. There's a specialty bar from Black Widow. I've been talking to the guy that kind of came up with the idea of the VHS bar. Maybe you've seen it. That's something I kind of want to try. I might end up just having Dean, or I might just try to snag the one that he brings so he doesn't have to take it home. See how that goes.
What kind of bar?
The VHS. It's Viking press, hammer curl, seal row bar.
Oh, I did see it. I've seen that.
Yeah, it just came out like a month or 2 ago. Since I'm going to have more space.
Yeah, that'd be a cool bar to try in person because it's like, is this going to do all 3 things good enough to just buy one bar, or am I just going to buy 3 individual ones that do their intended purpose? So that'd be a good one.
Right.
It'd be cool if he had a hole cut out in the middle of that so you could use like Viking press on like a safety pivot. Like you see, talking about.
Yeah, because it'd have to go through like the barbell to actually be able to use a barbell in the landmine to do a standing Viking press, like the pivot Viking press that you're talking about, right?
Right. Yeah.
Versus that, it's just going to be a overhead. Don't know.
Well, the one item that I'm looking forward to trying before I buy at HomeGymCon is whatever new cool item is first released at HomeGymCon, because I know there's going to be things that are not going to be released until HomeGymCon, and so that will be like to be there and see things that's their first unveiled and get to try them out first. I think will be really, really cool.
You mean like the Squat Max Pro?
I thought you were going to say Squat Max MD.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I saw this. I guess he released the specs of that Squat Max Pro, or like the teaser a couple of weeks ago. Thing looks ginormous. There's no way it could fit up here and not go through the floor. But but it looks pretty sweet anyway.
That'll be half his booth space if he brings it to HomeGymCon if it's ready.
Yeah.
about you, Carp?
Well, I was going to say, Dean from Black Widow, I don't have a particular piece that I wanted to try, but he said he's going to bring out a good large variety. So I always hear a lot about his powder coat. He's got that special powder coat, the grippy powder coat. So I want to get my hands on that, and if I do that, there's probably going to be something I'd go home with. I mean, I'm sure there's an item like he was saying, like a Viking press or something that would appeal to me. But really, he said that he would have all those items pretty much, exclusive items that he would be able to try out there. The other thing was going to be the Squat Max MD, but I've actually got a guy locally here that just got one in with the Titan one, so we're going to go over there on Thursday and get a workout in. We might do a little gym tour at his house and then get to try firsthand, so maybe I can give you guys some feedback after Thursday. But with it being a Titan, I wasn't sure, but since there was a guy locally, it's one of those try before you buy, so if you guys want to do that, definitely go to HomeGymCon and do that on everything.
With all the bars that Dean brings, I think last year he was fire sailing them for like 30% off because he didn't want to take them home. So if you do come and find one you need or you want, I claim dibs on it right away. There'll be deals to be had. So
that's cool. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if look, it just got dramatic again. Sorry, I don't sit still out here very long, so these are timer. But I don't know. I'm like, I just want the machines I ordered in March to show up. But as far as like new stuff goes, I don't know if I'm just like in a funk or what, but kind of thinking back on like what I was talking about earlier with like pre-COVID stuff, there wasn't a lot of things. The last 3 years or whatever have just been like product after product, new shit coming out. Everything's getting upgraded, gets tweaked a little bit, gets mimicked, whatever. And now we're kind of in a place, I feel like, where we're on this almost a decline, in a sense of, for me, like, I don't know, like, I was talking to Chip the other day, I was like, I don't know if it's because I have like, maybe I just have so much more than what I fucking need that I'm like, don't really give a shit about all the things that are coming out. Or if that disillusion where I'm just, all I see is like an AbMat, which is a cool product, right? But how many times can you recreate it? And this one just says Eleiko and it's made of a different material, but does it do anything different? I don't give a shit about that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something I'm going to replace my other one or get excited about or whatever. So thinking about things that I would want to try before I buy, I guess if I dig deep enough, the only thing, and it's not because I even think it would be good, but that new Prime adjustable bench, only because it like connects to my bench or whatever, and I like that concept. And then it has the cool like little attachments that go with it, so it makes, like with the preacher curl and the little arm things for more curls, I guess, so all the different curls. But I know it's going to be like $1,500 to get it, if it's priced the way that the version 1 is, to get it like in your custom color or whatever. And then I know that the pad's going to suck, and so the only reason why I would want to try it was just to like reiterate what I already know and confirm that I don't want to buy the fucking thing because it's not as good as some of the other options out there, despite all the other things that set it apart from the others. So,
well, they did say they were going to make a leg attachment to hook it up to your Prime rack.
Well, I have 2 leg machines on the way, so I don't really. I mean, but yeah,
cancel the order.
It would be cool for somebody that doesn't have that,
You're an isolated guy.
But I wouldn't cancel. I wouldn't cancel the order for that. Like I said, I mean, I'm still pretty hardcore about one machine that does it well instead of, like Jake said, even I used to have like the Titan machine, and it was fine if you hooked it up to the to a weight stack. It was much better than using plate loaded. It really is, but unless you can leave it that way, it still becomes a kind of a pain in the ass to drag it across the place, set it all up, and all that stuff. You get to this place where it's like everything that you have to do something extra to use when you really enjoy the convenience of just having a standalone machine. This becomes a gateway to the standalone machine. So having a bench that does that would be really cool if I didn't have the space. But I did things like reduced my rack size. I have an integrated functional trainer thing so that I could have the space to dedicate to the other machine, the 2 machines that I know that I will use. Whose hands are those? What the fuck? That come from? Are those your hands? On your shoulders, Jake. What just happened?
Yes,
He was doing this.
I was just stretching.
With your black shirt and your black stall mats and you're kind of fuzzy. It was very much, it very much looked like someone was behind you.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with it. If I were to try something, I would want to try that bench from only to know that I'm not going to buy it. Why I'm not going to buy it. Because online you can look at things and convince yourself of shit and get it in and be like, I probably should have, whatever. But
Well, I think I really like your point where you're like, there's plenty of things that are great if you can set it up, and then we see like these companies, they explain like, oh look, you can set it up in 3 minutes. Look at me focused and putting 100% effort into setting it up in 3 minutes. 3 minutes during your workout is kind of a long time, and it's like kind of daunting. So I personally never find myself actually setting something up in the middle of my workout for 3 minutes. So I just like never use.
Most of the time, it's just setting it up and like filming a reel. Never doing it.
Taking your shirt off.
Yeah, that shit. I had to stop doing that shit because it was such a distraction to my workouts that I'm sitting there thinking about reels and what I'm going to post and what I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like I had to stop doing that shit. But yeah, same thing, man. With the setups, I used to come out and set, like I would come out before my workout or whatever and like kind of get things set up, this way I can like have whatever. And even that became kind of a pain in the ass, like, so I know now after owning everything twice and then getting rid of it, I know what machines and things that I use the most. And that's kind of how I've gotten to the place where I'm like, I'm buying my forever equipment and I'm done. Unless something just completely badass blows my mind, comes out that, I can't live without or whatever. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Once these things ever show up, I don't know where I'll be after that,
Yeah, I can tell you that, like from talking about setup time, though, most training sessions I'll try to kind of plan, like, obviously plan in advance what you're going to be doing. But I'll, if I know that I'm going to be, going and doing deadlifts and then going to do something on the rack that takes up a little bit of setup time, I'm doing that setup during rest breaks, between deadlift sets. Sure. And so that really kind of cuts down on the felt setup time, if you will. There's still that tear down time as well, and I'm super anal about I've got to have everything put back up in its proper place before I'm done. So I always add 3 or 4 minutes to the end of every session cleaning up. But
yeah, for sure.
All right, anything else?
Is there anything that you want to try at HomeGymCon, Jake?
I think I think it's cool hearing about products that are going to be released at HomeGymCon. I can't remember who said that, but that's something that I like. And then like the custom work, like last year, like Black Widow did a bunch of custom HomeGymCon stuff. That was really cool. Who else did custom? There was I don't know. I think like just the custom builds that people make are awesome. Like Bridge Built did an awesome custom build.
Nate's deadlift platforms, and then the hammers,
the hammers, stuff like that. And I think there'll be like 10 times more of that this year. So stuff like that. The custom, I'm sure like JD Gym Equip, like they didn't do custom HomeGymCon stuff, but like you can really see like the quality of like the people that are hand making the stuff. So I think that's what I'd be most interested in seeing.
Have any of the big new vendors, like when they set it up with you, did they ask you like, hey, what do you recommend we bring? If we're like getting a booth this big, like, did you have any feedback with like Titan or some like Sornex or anybody of like what they should bring or what you'd recommend bringing?
No. I mean, I think like the big companies have done it. Like Rogue has 1,200 square feet. Sorinex has 1,000 square feet. Rep has 1,000. So like they know what they're gonna, or they're like they have plenty of things to bring.
Sweet.
So yeah, they don't need my advice.
Yeah, that's like 6 apartments in New York.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, I think last year at AbMat, that was the first time they were doing an expo or anything, and they had a pretty nice booth. And they said they're going bigger this year, so it should be pretty good stuff.
I mean, last year everybody.
I guess I'll have to hang out there.
Yeah, Eccles will be.
I'll have to hang out over there. I think next year too. One of the things I'm looking forward to is there was a lot of work between some of the companies done afterwards. After they kind of mingled with each other and figured some stuff out that I think we might have even more after this year. Like JD Gym Equipped and Black Widow and AbMat and the Bench Blocks guy, and I think there's just going to probably be some more collaborations, and we'll probably end up next year talking about some of the stuff that was talked about either at the casino or having dinner, stuff they discussed over drinks and came up with something cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those 2 fancy dinners.
I'm not looking forward to driving down this time, but it's going to be nice to have a way to bring stuff back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to drive. There's like a 97% chance I'm coming down. And if I do, it's like a 95% chance I'm going to drive because I don't know if I can justify with everything else I'm trying to get done next year. I spent $10,000 to travel last year. I can't come close to that this year. I'm just not going to be married anymore. So I got to cut my travel expenses in half somehow. And I think driving might be the only way to really help with that. And maybe cutting the Arnold out altogether, which just sucks because the Arnold's the only one that's like a reasonable drive, but it's like the one I'm least really – I had the least amount of fun at the Arnold, so I don't know. We'll see. Got a few months to figure all that out. What about you, Chip? Are you committing? Are you coming? Are you coming to HomeGymCon? Are you still wishy-washy?
Have not committed yet, so still trying to plan all that out. We will see. It'll be probably a last-minute decision, one way or the other. I mean, at this point, I've missed all of the early bird pricing, so might as well just kind of hold off and see.
Oh, it doesn't. Yeah, it's not good.
They can probably
too much.
Probably sell you my wife's ticket. I'm pretty sure she's not coming.
There you go.
Problem solved.
That was not an invite to share a room, though. What about you, Carp? Are you coming, you fucker?
Well, that's what we kind of got to talk offline about it. Is the thing is about getting off work. It's not. I don't have kind of like PTO time or leave time like some of you guys may have or other people have out there. So it's going to be to the end of the year before I know if I'll be able to get off work or not. And if so, then I'd love to come. It's not a want-to thing. It's a can-I thing.
Makes sense.
And I'll be driving. So if I do come, I'll be driving.
All right, guys. Well, it's getting late. We should close this. Thanks for hopping on. Do it again in a few months.
Good stuff,
Thanks.
guys.
Do you have anything else for us, Jake?
You guys got anything for Jake?
Oh no, it was the joke about. Do you have anything else for him, Jake? And butchered that, I guess.
No, you did good. Someone ruined it though.